Your heart just skipped. Someone walked up behind you, and for half a second, before you even turned around, your whole body reacted like your life was in danger. It wasn't. It was your coworker, but your body didn't know that yet. This happens more than you realize. A car horn, a dark hallway, a stranger's footsteps behind you at night. Your pulse spikes, your muscles tense, your breath catches, and all of this happens before your conscious mind has even finished processing what you saw. You call it being startled, but the real explanation is far stranger. Somewhere inside you is a hunting ground that no longer exists, and your brain is still standing guard over it. Here's the reframe. You are not overreacting to modern stress. You are living inside a body built for a world with teeth, and that body has never been told the danger is mostly gone. To understand why, you have to go back further than most explanations bother to go. Not to your childhood, not even to your grandparents. Back nearly 2 million years, to a time when your ancestors were not the most dangerous animal on the savannah. They weren't even close. Anthropologist Donna Hart, along with her co-author Robert Sussman, spent years compiling fossil and behavioral evidence that overturned a comfortable myth. Early humans liked to imagine themselves as born hunters, dominating the landscape from the start. The evidence says otherwise. Fossilized bones from early hominins show puncture marks that match the teeth of leopards and saber-toothed cats. Your ancestors weren't just occasionally at risk. For a huge stretch of human evolutionary history, they were regularly prey. Sit with that for a second. Before you were the hunter, you were the hunted. This changes everything about how your body works today. When you're prey, you don't get to relax. You don't get to assume the coast is clear. The animals that survived long enough to have descendants weren't the calm ones. They were the ones whose bodies reacted first and asked questions later. This is where the amygdala comes in, that small almond-shaped structure buried deep in your brain. Think of it as a guard stationed at the edge of camp, and this guard doesn't wait for proof. It doesn't wait for a leopard to fully emerge from the brush before sounding the alarm. It reacts to a shape, a shadow, a sudden movement, anything that might be a predator, because guessing wrong in the other direction, waiting to be sure, could mean you never get the chance to guess again. Neuroscientist Joseph Ledoux spent decades studying this exact system. His research revealed something remarkable about how fear actually works in the brain. A threat signal can reach the amygdala and trigger a full-body response before it ever reaches the parts of your brain responsible for conscious thought. Your body can decide to be afraid before you know what you're afraid of. This is why you can jump at a shadow and only realize a second later that it was just your own coat hanging on a door. The fear came first. The explanation came after. And here's the strange part. That order isn't a flaw. It's the entire point. A guard who waits for certainty is a guard who sometimes dies waiting. So what does this mean for you? Sitting in an office, or scrolling through your phone, or walking to your car at night in a well-lit parking lot with security cameras everywhere. It means your guard is still on duty. It never got the memo that the leopards mostly moved out. Think about the last time you felt a flash of unease for no clear reason. Maybe you were walking alone and sensed something was wrong before you saw anything wrong. Maybe a loud noise in another room sent a jolt through your chest before you'd even processed what the sound was. That's not anxiety malfunctioning. That's an ancient system doing exactly the job it was built for, just aimed at a world that looks nothing like the one it evolved in. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman described the mind as operating through two different systems. One is fast, automatic, and emotional. The other is slow, deliberate, and rational. The fast system evolved first, and for good reason. In a world full of predators, slow and rational gets you killed. Fast and paranoid keeps you alive long enough to pass on your genes. Your modern brain still runs the fast system first, even when the leopards are gone and the only thing behind you is your neighbor taking out the trash. There's something else worth noticing here. This ancient vigilance didn't just shape your individual fear responses, it shaped why humans banded together in groups in the first place. A lone human on the savannah was an easy meal. A group of humans watching each other's backs, sharing the job of staying alert, was a much harder target. Anthropologists studying group behavior in early humans have long pointed to this as one of the deep evolutionary reasons humans are such intensely social creatures. Safety in numbers wasn't a saying. It was survival math. This is part of why isolation feels dangerous to you, on some level you can't quite name. Why a quiet, empty house at night feels different from the same house full of people. Your ancestors' nervous systems learned that alone meant vulnerable, and yours inherited that lesson whether you asked for it or not. Here's where it gets even stranger. Your brain doesn't just react to real threats. It reacts to anything that resembles a threat closely enough. This is called stimulus generalization, and it means your ancient guard isn't picky about accuracy. A rustling bush and a plastic bag blowing across a parking lot can trigger surprisingly similar reactions because your nervous system isn't running a background check. It's pattern matching at high speed, and better safe than sorry has been the rule since long before language existed. This is why horror movies work on you, even though you know rationally that nothing on the screen can hurt you. Your slow-thinking brain knows it's fiction. Your fast, ancient guard doesn't fully believe it. It sees movement in shadow, sudden noise, something creeping into frame, and it responds the way it was built to respond, regardless of what your logical mind has already concluded. It's also why certain places feel wrong before you can explain why. A parking garage, a dark stairwell, an unlit street. Your modern mind might have no specific reason for the unease, but somewhere underneath the analysis, an older part of you is scanning for exits, corners, places where something could be hiding, because for most of human history, those were exactly the questions that determined who lived and who didn't. None of this means you're broken, or anxious, or overly sensitive. It means you are carrying forward a survival system with an extraordinary track record. Every single one of your ancestors, going back millions of years, successfully avoided being eaten long enough to have children. That is not a small thing. That is an unbroken chain of correct guesses, stretching back further than you can really imagine, and you are the current result of that chain. The world has changed faster than your biology could keep up with. You built cities, cured diseases, put lights in every room, and largely removed the predators that shaped your nervous system in the first place. But the guard at the edge of camp never got reassigned. It's still standing there, scanning the tree line. Because as far as your oldest instincts are concerned, the tree line never fully went away. So tonight, when a sound in the dark makes your whole body go rigid before your mind catches up, or when you feel unease in an empty parking lot for no reason you can name, don't be embarrassed by it. Don't try to argue yourself out of it entirely. That flinch, that flash of alertness, that quiet unease, it's not weakness. It's not a malfunction. It's the oldest part of you, still standing guard at the edge of a hunting ground that existed long before you did, still doing the one job it has always known how to do, keeping you alive, one guess at a time.